Dr. Rice, hello and congratulations. It's wonderful to have this conversation with you at this point in your life.
Well, it's a pleasure for me too, Beth. I'm very happy to be here.
So I should start with a question that I can imagine many students would ask, and that is, what does it mean to you to have won a Nobel Prize?
Well, that's an interesting question because this is certainly something that I never expected to happen. And I sort of take it not as necessarily something that is awarded to me personally, because it really has to do with an incredible effort by hundreds, thousands of people over decades. And so I really view it more as sort of recognition of what the field working on viral hepatitis C was able to accomplish as a group effort. Because I think really very few of these awards or prizes really are for a single individual's contributions. It's more of a community effort.
I do want to take this into what you won this prize for, and you and your team, because you had co-winners, as you said, were able to solve some of the mysteries of hepatitis C. And I'm sure you're used to explaining this in somewhat everyday terms, and there is a great scope to your work, but could you give a little of that overview of the mysteries that were solved?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, the first mystery was that there was an agent that was causing liver disease, which we call hepatitis, inflammation of the liver, that it was not due to the usual suspects, those being two known hepatitis viruses, hepatitis A and hepatitis B. And it was really Harvey Alter at the NIH that, sort of noticed this and called this mystery agent non-A, non-B hepatitis. It wasn't A, it wasn't B, non-A, non-B.
It would be C then, yeah.
Yeah, and at that point, didn't know if it was one or more agents. And this sort of initiated a lot of activity in the community and biotech and pharma to actually figure out, sort of who this troublemaker was. And it was Mike Houghton, the other co-laureate, and his team at Chiron in the Bay Area that actually made the first molecular clones of this new agent, and then in 1989 called it hepatitis C. And that's when we began working on it. And my group actually discovered a missing piece of the genome of the virus. Now, this virus, like SARS-CoV-2, the cause of COVID-19, is an RNA virus, not a DNA virus. And we discovered that there was a little piece missing at one end. And it turned out that piece was actually important. These viruses don't have a lot of excess baggage that you can just, sort of miss and get rid of. And that was actually important for really proving that this virus was the cause of this non-A, non-B hepatitis, then called hepatitis C. And really that provided the foundation for some of the tools that had to be established in order to develop new antiviral drugs to sort of treat the virus infection.
I do want to note that you are a Rio Americano alum. I want you to give a shout out to your elementary and your middle school as well. Please give a cheer to all your schools.
Yeah, well, I went to Marymount. That was sort of, and then to Arden.
You have received a very special honor from the San Juan Education Foundation, and I believe you have already received it. So I think we'd all like to take a peek and have you say a few words about this recognition.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, here it is.
Oh, you're prismed.
That sort of beautiful glass, and it says, Charles M. Rice, Hall of Fame, 2021, in recognition of your innovative spirit, professional success, and commitment to giving back to the community in a way that supports youth development. And it's from the San Juan Education Foundation. So I'm very proud to have received this. Wonderful.
Well, with that, I would like some words from you to the students about being innovative, making a commitment to helping the world, or really just finding and following your own path in life.
Well, I think that's, we're all on somewhat of a random walk in life, I think. And, there are always sort of decisions to be made. I guess what I would say is that, sort of when you decide on a particular path, really give it your all to, sort of do your best to sort of make it succeed. And, if that doesn't work out, there are other paths that can be taken. But I think the other thing that I hope for, sort of the sort of next generations is really paying more attention to our biosphere, our world, and sort of really trying to do what we can as sort of occupants of this very limited and precious space to preserve it. And I think we're all sort of seeing some of the consequences of industrialization and other human activities sort of on our globe. And I think this is going to be, one of the great challenges. Infectious disease, of course, is something that I, spend a lot of attention on, but there are other things that are important too. And I hope that, some of the younger folks, really take this to heart and make a mission out of it, because I think it's very important for the future.
Well, let me ask you then about COVID and its variants, and wondering in the big picture, at what point you think we're going to be post-pandemic in a way that we aren't right now, and what your feeling is about the vaccines, which now we have booster shots coming available for everybody.
Well, I think the vaccines that we have and the speed with which these were developed, after the sort of discovery of the virus and determining its sequence has been spectacular. And it's clear they have incredible impact. But I think one of the problems that we have encountered here is really getting everybody vaccinated, because that's really important in terms of turning down the ability of the virus to spread. And the more the virus spreads, the more opportunity it has to sort of generate variation, and those variants to be, selected to basically survive and circulate in the human population. So
Any timetable then on when, that role of variants might slow?
Well, again, it's kind of evolution in action that we're experiencing here on a global scale. And, we still have new variants being generated. Certainly the Delta has been, sort of the most successful in terms of being able to spread more efficiently. And with, half of the population still unvaccinated or infection naive, there's plenty of people to, sort of be infected by the virus. And I think there are already variants that sort of go way beyond Delta. I think we've almost used up the Greek alphabet. But I think, sort of with vaccination, I think that we did maybe sort of go into business as usual or life as usual a little bit too soon. It would have been better if we'd had 70 or 80 or even higher percentages of the population vaccinated before everybody took off their masks and started dining indoors and so on and so forth. So I think that was bad timing, but people are tired, tired of the pandemic. But I think things are getting better, and but I think it is going to take time before things are sort of back to normal, and probably back to normal is going to be SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19 really sort of becoming more like the seasonal coronaviruses, where most of the population is immune. Kids get infected, but they basically don't have severe disease. They sort of get re-exposed over time. So as adults, you're not in the space that we are now, or that we have been over the last year and a half, where we have essentially an immune naive population where the virus can infect everybody of any age. And obviously, if you're an older person, if one is an older person, your risk of severe disease from this virus are very much worse.
Well, Dr. Rice, let me make this formal then. Dr. Charles M. Rice, winner of the 2020 Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine, and now inducted in the STARS Hall of Fame by the San Juan Education Foundation. Congratulations.
Thank you, Beth. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and this is a real honor for me. And I'd say, go Rio.
Well, come back from New York sometime soon and visit, because Rio Americano's campus is beautiful and changed with a new performing arts center too. And there are people always welcome to greet you and ready to say hi.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably isn't even recognizable compared to what it was like in 1970.
You'd know it. You'd know it. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.